Everybody has to have an Octopus, right? A backup regulator. It's pretty much mandatory gear. What if you could lose that dangling Octopus to your right? What if you get rid of it altogether? Wouldn't that be nice? We'll get to that in just a second. So I'm here today to talk a little bit about the Atomic SS1, your backup. This is your Octopus. It completely replaces your normal Octopus on the side. So in the review today, this is actually my rig. This is my BC, this is my SS1 that I use. And that should say a lot right up front. The beauty of these is you completely lose a hose. So normally on your regulator, you have an Octopus hose coming off to an Octopus. And then what do you have to do? You have to keep it close to your body. And many people don't. It drives me crazy when I see these Octopuses out there dragging on the coral or, just dangling out there. Same thing on the other side with the gauges and all that. We'll get to that in another review. But this one completely replaces it. This breathes. You can breathe out of it. It's not an inflator. So it's a regulator built into your BC. And you don't have to have the Octopus. Completely eliminates it. Okay? My first impression really is it doesn't change the look that much. You can't really just look at somebody and notice right away what's different about them. But the fact that they don't have an Octopus, don't have a hose. And you might ask, well, how do you breathe out of it? If you needed air, if you and I were diving together and you needed air, I would give you my primary, okay? And I would just take this and put it in my mouth. That's my secondary, that's it. No long hose, nothing like that, okay? So let's talk a little bit about cool factor. I think it's pretty cool, but why I think it's cool is not necessarily the way it looks or anything. It's really what it does for you. I have said it before, I would dive naked if I could. And it's really just because I don't want to be encumbered by so much gear, right? And this product does something for me that I think is exceptionally cool. It totally removes a hose and a regulator that I have to try to keep track of or keep up against my body. So for me, that is a cool feature. It makes diving a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier. You're more streamlined, less to think about, less to maintain and all that. And then the fact that you can coordinate it to all the different pieces of gear you have, maybe, red with a red BC, or if you just like black, you can have black. But I think there's 7 different colors that it comes in. So I think it's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about the features of this regulator. It has a quick disconnect on it that makes it very nice to disconnect from your BC hose, and you can put it in your reg bag when you travel. So it doesn't have to stay on the gear, flopping around and all that kind of thing. Another one, which is kind of a small item, but really if you notice the shape of the buttons, they're totally different. You can easily find them in murky water, night diving. You don't have to look and see. You get very used to what it is, even if you have gloves on, okay? So it's very easy to understand. It has the regular purge just like a regular regulator, so you don't have to rethink. It's not something you have to get used to. You know how to work a regulator, you know how to work this. Okay. The low profile design, what they call the low profile design, really what they're talking about is that this kind of fits flat against the BC. And it's elliptical, so it doesn't poke out that far. You can tether it down with your Velcro. I'll tell you how I personally use it, and I love it, is I will put mine underneath the chest strap. So I'll put the regulator over here. It sits flat against my chest. I put my chest strap over it to hold it against me. Nothing is moving. And it's almost like having a remote control. You feel very cool when you just put your hand up, push the button you need to inflate or deflate, and it's just right there every single time, tight against my body. I don't know that they designed it for that, but that's the way I use mine, and it works wonderfully. Let's talk a little bit about functionality. That's the whole reason why I use this one. The price isn't that important to me if I get a good piece of gear. The way it looks, not even that important to me if I get a good piece of gear, but really how this thing works. I've had so many Octopus regulators in my history, and I get to demo all of them. So what sets this one apart? Really, simply, the way it breathes. It breathes just like a regular regulator. And if you've dove quite a bit, you know what I'm talking about. An Octopus is one of those things you buy not to use. Hopefully you never have to use it. But when you do breathe on them, they're, I don't know the right words to say, to be honest with you. It's not that they're poor quality, it's that they put less in them, less engineering in them and things like that. You know, you can have a regulator made by a certain manufacturer and it breathes wonderful, and then you have the backup or the Octopus by the same manufacturer, and it's so much less expensive. You ever wonder why? Because they don't have as much engineering and function into the regulator. So they breathe funny. Some of them you have to draw on them hard. Some of them, you know, they almost want a free flow. And that can be adjusted out of it, but, you know, they just, I don't know the right word. It's not cheap, they just don't work as well. That's the beauty of this one. When you breathe out of this, it's like a regular regulator. And sometimes I dive this on purpose. I finish like the last half of my dive by breathing on this just to make sure that it's working properly and all that kind of thing, because you really don't use them all that much. So if I had to give you my primary and then I had to breathe on this for the rest of the dive until we surfaced, no brainer. It's a wonderful breathing regulator. You know, quality is a tough thing for me to talk about a lot of times. I don't know why that's the category that I have the worst time, because you can make something out of really, really good materials, but if you don't engineer it properly to put it together right, you can have some sort of a challenge. So what tells you the quality? Is it really the materials they use? Yes. Is it the way they put it together and engineer it? Yes. So how do you know if it's poor quality? Usually after time, it fails or you have challenges. You know, things rust, they corrode. Atomic does a great job, really, with many of their products. And this one having 316 stainless steel parts on the inside of it so it doesn't rust or corrode. The lever that controls the airflow is titanium. It's extremely light, very low mass. They've put it all in a nice tight package in there that it just works really, really well. So they've kind of done the best that they can do. And the durability of the thing, how long they last without challenges, is a little bit of a testimony to the quality that goes inside. So yes, Atomic uses good quality materials. They don't scrimp. Thus, the price of this is a little bit more expensive than a regular Octopus. But if you choose this one, you're going to find that it breathes like a regular regulator. It's going to last. It has a 2-year service warranty. Most regulators are 1 year. You have to get them serviced every year. So think about the long-term cost of having this regulator. It's going to kind of pay for itself a little bit because you don't have to maintain it as often. So durability on a product, really, you have to have some history to know. We've installed hundreds of these things, and the durability has been very, very good. Most of the challenges we've had in our service department with this regulator really are a result of poor maintenance. So I can't emphasize that enough. It's not Atomic's fault if you maintain it poorly. If you don't rinse it out, I'm going to say this would probably do better for somebody that never maintained their gear just because of the parts and pieces that are inside. But you can't get away with not taking care of scuba gear. And it's life support. You should take care of it. But the durability factor, the only real challenges we've had is a few of them have leaked air, just a small leak, and it's pretty easy to fix. And Atomic has taken care of it just like that. So the durability factor, this one is my personal one. I've had it for now 3.5 years or so, and I do demo other ones all the time, but this one I've had for about 3.5 years. I've serviced it once. It didn't display any reason to service it other than I like to keep my gear in really good shape. Okay? And we have the best tech ninjas there are, so I just hand it to them, they fix it. Let's talk a little bit about value. The SS1's more expensive than others, right? It is. And the commitment that it takes for you to purchase one of these for something that you hope you never have to use, I get it. It's a commitment. I mean, it's going to take a little bit more because it's more expensive. This is my personal SS1. This is my rig. This is what I dive in. And I try all of them out there. So I'm standing up here telling you I believe it's worth the value simply because the durability, the performance of this, the way it breathes is so comfortable and so nice. I could use it as a standalone regulator. The materials that Atomic puts into their gear is really good. It will come down in price over time, the actual cost to you, simply because the 2-year service warranty means you have to service this one half the time as most of the backup. So it's going to cost you a little less money to own it. So again, I think the value is worth it. I purchased it. Is it more expensive, and will it take a little bit more of a commitment for you? Absolutely it will. When you do your search online, you're going to find that most of them are less expensive than this one, but I think you get something for your money here that is worth it. So the pros, really, I think the number one pro for me, and the reason why I made this decision myself a long time ago, is that you completely lose your hose for your Octopus and your Octopus regulator. You're going to spend the money on an Octopus anyway. And this allows you to be a much more streamlined diver. No Octopus flailing out there, dangling, even if you attach. It breathes just like a regular regulator, and it's self-contained right here really close. And so I think that's absolutely a pro. I suppose you could say that the fact that you can color coordinate with their 7 colors and all, that could be a pro too, because it does distinguish your gear different than other people's gear on the boat when you're diving with a lot of divers. So losing a hose, losing a backup is, in my opinion, the biggest reason why to go with this. The negative, the cons. Really, it's just the price. Like I mentioned, it's going to take a commitment to buy something that costs a little bit more money for something you hope you never use. But the quality and the performance of this backup, in my opinion, makes it worth it, but it is still more expensive. So, to summarize, after using many backup regulators, Octopus regulators out there, I find that most of them perform similarly, and they're priced similarly as well. They perform as expected for the most part because they're going to do what you really need them to do. But the Atomic SS1 is not in the same category. It performs better, it's more costly, so you pay more but you get more. The bottom line is I dive with the SS1. Okay, now for the BA rating. So under the cool factor, we give it an 8. Good choice. Under the features, we give it an 8. Good choice. The quality, we give it an 8. Good choice. The durability, it was rated as an 8. Good choice. The value was rated at a 7. What's 7? Respectable. So the overall BA rating of the Atomic SS1 is a 7.8. You know, I have fun doing these reviews. I think it's a great service to add for people, you know, no BS reviews, so you learn the good, bad, and the ugly. I'm an aquaholic. Are you an aquaholic? I'm addicted to all things diving. Are you addicted? Me too. So, I tell you what, why don't you subscribe to our channel, because we're going to have a whole lot more coming. Have fun. You know why we do this? We do this to help you. And if this has helped in some way, would you consider helping us and give us a like below? And if you know somebody who might benefit from these videos, please share it with them. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. That way you'll know when the next one comes out. Make it a great day.